Welcome to the Packard Approved Podcast, the most mediocre fantasy football podcast you'll ever find. I'm your weekly host, Packard, and today with me I have another special guest. We have Courtney from the NXT. Courtney, what's going on?
Nothing. Happy to be here. Happy that you invited me to be on this podcast.
I was super stoked because, I put up the first video, and you're like, yeah, I want to do it, and then right before we started recording, you're like, so, I was a little tipsy when I decided to do that.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was tipsy on a Sunday afternoon, goals, and I saw you post it, and why my brain was like, I want to be a part of this. And then you actually messaged me 2 days ago, being like, hey, do you want to record this week? And I was like, oh, crap. Like, oh, yeah, definitely. But I definitely super excited. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't, like, directly write down notes after you texted me, being like, what am I going to talk about? How terrible I am at fantasy football, and go. But yeah, no, definitely happy to be here, and I'm excited.
It's like you're at a party, and, you meet up with people, and, hey, let's do dinner, tomorrow. You're like, yeah, absolutely. And then you wake up, you're like, oh, no, what did I just do?
That's every day of my life. Every moment I make plans, I'm like, oh, just kidding.
And now we're going to put
But
it on the internet.
yes.
So, you
Oh,
are in the NXT League. You've been
I
with
am.
us for, this is now your third year. The first year
Correct.
was, we'll say your rookie year. I don't know how many years you did before that. If you were doing fantasy football before that year.
Yeah, so I had done it previously 1 year before the first time I was in NXT. I am a part of my brother's college friends uh, draft and fantasy football league. So had done it once before, and it clearly showed.
It showed. So, I'm sure you pulled up the stats, but I also have them with me because I am the host and the commissioner, and that's what I have to do. So, 2017, you were 4-9. Which was
Yep.
dead last place because there was only 10 people, and you were actually on the verge of getting booted out of the NXT for inactivity. Because there's 3 weeks
Yes.
where you were like, oh, these people aren't playing or they're dead. I didn't switch. Fuck it, it's NXT. And then it was the Marshall part,
Yeah.
and you're like, no, don't kick me. I want to keep going. I promise I'll do better. I was like,
Yeah, I think I was just so fed up with my team, and I am a very competitive person that if everything goes down south, like just doesn't go well, I give up. And so I think just that year I was just so unhappy with my team that I was like, screw it, I'm not even gonna set my lineup for this week. I stuck a couple of W's in there, but not enough, clearly.
yeah. And one of those was against me.
Did I beat you that first year?
So first of all, the scoring, I never changed the scoring, so that's when we were getting point nines and point twos and all that, which just drove me up a damn wall. I hated that.
Yeah.
And so you had 4 wins. You beat Mike, Chantel, myself, and then Mike twice. So you actually beat Mike twice. I don't.
Oh
I wish I
gosh.
had this matchup because somehow you beat me 73.6 to 48.7. There was a week where I didn't break 50 points, and I don't know
Oh,
how that was remotely possible.
I mean, I'm pretty proud of myself for that. I would not be lying when I said there are three people in this league that I always want to beat. It's you, Bill, and Dan Lyons.
That's fair.
I'm like, if I just beat them, I'm okay. Everybody else, whatever. But the people that I know and I'm closest to, I'm like, no, I'm gonna
You can't
start
lose
shit
to it.
talking weeks before and hopefully come out on top.
You did at the Halloween party. I'm playing you next week and I'll beat you. I was like, what the fuck? I thought we were cool. But
Yep.
there's no
Nope.
friendship when it comes to fantasy football. I've learned that through the years of fantasy football. Anything on the table doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're related to someone, engaged to someone, married to someone. It's fantasy football. No holds bars on that.
Oh yeah. That's why I want Brian to get involved so I can just shit talk all day, every day in this household. But unfortunately,
Listen, NXT, I'm always open to NXT because we added 2 more people this year, and I'm always interested to add more people. But I think if we go 14, we might have to go PPR just because it's so crazy just to be so dependent on touchdowns with a third string running back. But that's
absolutely.
for next year. So
And I think NXT is just a great intro as a rookie, not knowing how to really do fantasy football. Still to this day, um,
yeah,
little bit more knowledgeable. I think you do a great job
yeah,
with
thank you.
like keeping everybody engaged and excited, and your weekly posts and everything. So
'Cause that's what I
NXT
was.
is great.
Yeah, and that's like that's awesome. I appreciate it, but that's like exactly what I was trying to go for. Like a league that's like open for new people, it's competitive, but you can also have fun, and like it's not like week 10 and you're like, well, I lost, so what's the point of playing?
Yeah, yeah.
But it translated because so you went from 2017 where your first two picks were Doug Baldwin and Jay Ajayi, and then almost got kicked out, and then 2018, you had like almost the best record throughout the majority of the season. I think you were pretty good up until probably like when Kareem Hunt got suspended, and then Cam Newton also couldn't throw for more than 5 yards. I think that's where
Yep.
like your team was like, and we're good here.
Yeah, yeah. And like looking at, I mean, I always go for running backs and wide receivers first, or at least I try to. And looking at, I mean, I feel as though I drafted pretty well. Like had Kareem Hunt, like you said, not.
Yeah, I'm looking at it
I
now. It's pretty nasty. I mean, outside of what'd you say it was rounds 10, 11, 12. You went.
Oh no, 9, 10,
That is
11
not.
is.
I'm sure you heard it the first time, but for whatever reason, my biggest pet peeve in fantasy football will always be watching kickers get drafted any round that isn't the very last round.
Oh, I agree, but
And then
apparently
you're like,
2017 Courtney just threw that out the
you're like,
window.
no, I need both Matt Bryant and Steven Gostkowski in rounds 9 and 10. Need those people.
I mean, the points from kickers can make or break a game. Just kidding. No.
They
But
can.
yeah,
They can. However, the Matthew Berry, the godfather of fantasy football, hates kickers so much that last year he was trying to abolish them from fantasy football altogether. He's like, we don't need these
I
anymore.
mean, wouldn't be opposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Round 9 is kicker, 10 kicker, and then I went for a defense because that's super important
Stop.
too in round 11.
No, it's not. I don't understand.
But then I went back to the QB wide receiver right after. So I needed to break up the like pattern because I don't even know.
Like
I don't even know.
I'll paint a picture for everyone back there. So you went kicker, Ravens defense, and then after that you took the number 2 or I think you finished number 2 or number 3 quarterback for the entire year with Matt Ryan. So you're like, I need
Matty
kicker,
Ice.
need a defense, and then oh by the way, I have probably the best quarterback for fantasy football behind Patrick Mahomes in like round 12.
Yeah,
MVD.
and still came last.
Yeah, I don't have the scoreboard with me, but I think because you do really well, and then like the last like 4 games is just. I mean, you went 8 and 5, finished 4th, and then 3rd overall, so you won in the consolation bracket,
Oh yeah,
and you did better than me. So
that's fair.
if that's any consolation, but
Yeah.
everyone did better than me.
Not good enough to move up to the big leagues, but I'm hoping this year will be the year. No, it won't.
It should be, because I think we'll transition to that as a great segue into our draft was just finished. That was what last Friday, Saturday? It was sometime last week. I don't know.
Last Sunday.
It was last
Last
Sunday.
Su-
Yes, it's been a week.
Last Sunday, yeah, because we had actually pushed it back, but I still had it in my phone at 6,
That's right.
even though it was at 7, and I was like, oh crap, I forgot we had a draft today.
That's
So
right, you texted me.
I was in the car for the first 15 minutes of the draft, and which everyone will soon find out I did no research, and it was rough, but
Well, outside of doing no research, just be thankful that you did not take both Andrew Luck and or Lamar Miller, because
that's true.
that would just
And it could have been worse. I could have taken Zeke and Antonio Brown, but
I feel like that's a shot at me because out of I think I'm in 6, 7 leagues right now. Almost every one of them I have both Ezekiel Elliott and Antonio Brown.
Oh, do you really? Well,
Yep.
Antonio Brown sounds like he's on the verge of making a decision on a helmet because,
Yeah.
priorities. Um, but yeah, the holdouts with Melvin and Zeke.
Well, to be fair, not to get
Uh,
segue on these other ones, I do agree with you. But in my thought process is like, oh, Zeke's only going to be suspended for 2 games because Jerry Jones is an asshole. And he's like, oh yeah, Dak Prescott, you won $30 million. Let's see how you do without him. And they're going to do terrible, and then you have to pay him. But also just Tony Pollard too. So like, worst case, Zeke sits out. I just have his backup for 6 weeks. Uh,
yeah, I have Tony Pollard in my other league, so I'm like, all right.
and then Antonio Brown, I got him because it's the War Room, which I got him in the War Room. So that's a two-person keeper, and the first person took Elliott, and then it was Antonio Brown or like Joe Mixon. And I was like, well, I had Joe Mixon last year, so let's roll the dice.
Yeah.
So it's not like I went out of my way.
Uh,
I didn't reach for Antonio Brown. I was like, oh, someone wants to give me a free double whopper from Burger King? I guess I'll take it.
I'll, I mean, if I have to.
But that's that. But this year, we drafted. You had. Well, you were third. You had the third pick, and then I had the 12th
Yes.
pick. So, did you plan on taking Todd Gurley, or was that kind of like the first two people went, which was Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, and then you're like, well, who am I gonna take? Or what was your? I guess first,
Um,
what was your like your thought process while you're driving and you had 5 minutes to figure a draft strategy?
I honestly go by projected points mostly. I'm like, oh, this person is high up, like I'll take them. I also try to draft people. I try to draft people I'm more familiar with, like, you know, on my draft right now, like Todd Gurley. I've had him on teams in the past, and like Julian Edelman. Which also didn't realize he had like broken his thumb, but I assumed he would be better for week 1, so I was like, all right. But yeah, so I go mostly by projected points. People I like. I try to get a Packer in there.
Yeah.
Because if everyone doesn't know, I'm also a Packers fan.
It's impossible in this league to get the Packers player, by the way. There's 3 of us.
Oh, yeah, no. And I got Mason Crosby, but I dropped him.
Yeah, because he
Um,
might not even make the team.
yeah,
I saw
so
the
I
story.
dropped
I'm like, what
him.
in the hell?
I dropped him and picked up, I don't know,
Jason Myers.
Jason Myers. And then I also try to avoid people from teams I obviously hate. I know you mentioned this on the last episode of It's a Sunday, and you have Mitchell Trubisky on your team, and you want to win in fantasy football, but you freaking hate the Bears, which I do have Mitchell on my team this year. So
You're
I'm
okay.
like, you can stay on the bench.
It's funny that you say that. So, looking at your team, right? You have.
Yeah.
I feel like all these teams you hate. You
Detroit.
have Dak Prescott, right? And then you
Yep.
have David Montgomery from the Bears. You have,
Yep.
as much as you like Julian Edelman, you probably hate the Patriots. You have him going. I don't know how you feel about the Seahawks, but I can't stand the Seahawks.
Oh, I hate the Seahawks. After the NFC Championship, and I cried all the way home. Nope.
So you have Tyler Lockett.
Yep.
I'm sure you're Eagle or not Eagle. Eagles probably whatever. Carolina
Yeah.
whatever. Seattle's kicker, but still at Seattle. And then your bench you have Marvin Jones Jr. from the Lions, Mitchell Trubisky from the Bears, Kyle Rudolph from the Vikings.
Yeah, I don't know how I ended up with everyone in our like division and everything, but I did. And so I guess I'll just be rooting for my fantasy football team to lose, because yeah, it just sucks like having to root, wanting to win in fantasy, but then I obviously want the Packers to win and everything. So
Like Mitchell Trubisky, you
Yeah.
put up 20 points, but just don't win. That's it.
yeah.
Give your points.
Um,
and just let it go. Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I try not to draft anyone from Bears, Lions, Seahawks, anyone I hate, which honestly is most teams.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I hate the Giants. And yeah. But mostly projected points I go by, because I love football. I love watching. Like I love the Packers, but when it comes down to it, I don't know every little detail about every player. Like I don't know stats
Especially when
and
you get to the late rounds. That gets tough. I think that's where a lot of people like they go to kickers and defenses because just like round 9, you're like, all right, I'm gonna take David Njoku or Latavius Murray, and people are like, who? What? And so they take like what they know, and then
yeah.
because this year
Um,
people take kickers like round 9, like in all leagues. I'm like, what? No, stop, stop.
oh, and I obviously I try to work around bye weeks for everyone. I won't draft everyone on the same team, so I have to replace everyone for that 1 week. Like I try to move it around, which I think is a common thing.
Yeah.
But
That used to be a big thing. Like I remember drafting, and I'm like, oh, I can't draft both my wide receivers like in the same bye week. And now I'm like, you know what? If I lose that first week, that week where they're both on bye weeks because my subs couldn't do the job, screw it, whatever.
yeah, because next week they'll just both be in, and you can just recoup.
Uh,
Um,
so that's that. So yeah, so you took Gurley number 3, which is pretty solid. Like I was thinking about taking Gurley number 1 in the Palace League, just because like, granted he's got arthritis, but who in the league doesn't have arthritis?
yeah, at that point, yeah, and doesn't have injuries and everything, so it's hard to find someone who doesn't.
I got screwed, kind of. So like I chose to take the number 12 pick because I had number 1 in the other league. So I was like, let me mix it up so I don't end up with the same teams. So I was going through.
Yeah, you actually gave me. You were like, you have
Yeah,
like
I
third
gave
or
it to you before
12th.
me.
Yeah, I was like, Packard, what are you doing? Like, but all right, and I still chose
So-
3. So
So I did that, right? I went through everyone with Dave and Buster's, went through the list, and then I got to Bill. And Bill's like, oh, I'll take number 11. And then he's like, wait, we're right next to each other? I was like, yep. He's like, we are literally going to steal each other's picks the entire draft. And I cannot stress this enough. That's exactly what happened almost every damn round.
oh my god, and didn't that happen like last year too?
I think so. We have to be like complete ends of the draft because we get to the end, like Michael Thomas goes, Devonta Adams goes, and then you have a list of wide receivers. There's Tyreek Hill, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham Jr., and like Juju Smith. I'm like, all right, cool. All I want out of this is Tyreek Hill. Like, I just want 1 year where I could get Tyreek Hill. Because last year I was like, oh, watch out for Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes, and I never got him. But I told everyone to draft him, and obviously we know how they went.
Yeah.
And the one wide receiver
Yeah.
that Bill takes, it's goddamn Tyreek Hill. It's like Tyreek Hill is the new generation. So like last generation, I have never been able to get Calvin Johnson or Larry Fitzgerald like in their prime, ever. Mostly it's because I'm stubborn and I'm kind of like you were like I like to go running backs and like before I'd almost exclusively draft first 4 rounds just all running backs. I try to get the top tier running backs I could and fill in with whatever wide receivers I could. So I never got them and I'm like all right Tyreek Hill, but I can't I can't spend a first round pick on a wide receiver in standard scoring. I don't know why. I couldn't do it.
You just can't do it.
But I was like, all right, especially because in NXT, since like I have to be in that league to run it, so I try to not take it too serious. Well, I take it like I want to win, but I'm not gonna draft like super hardcore. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, cool, Tyreek Hill, and then Bill takes Tyreek Hill. I was like, son of a bitch, no. So
Yeah, I feel as though NXT for you is just kind of like, yeah, it would be nice to win, but also let's experiment with people on your team and like
last year I
get.
took like Delvin Cook rather. I was like, oh, I wouldn't draft him regularly, but let me draft him, and then he gets injured. I'm like, this is probably why I'm not gonna draft you ever.
Yeah.
So for my mindset, I was 12th round, so I just took, or 12th overall, I just took the best 2 available. So it gave me Julio Jones and then ODB, which isn't bad.
Oh, yes.
Like I'm cool with that. I mean, there's James Conner and then Joe Mixon, like I said earlier. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. And it's different. Usually I don't have those 2, so I was like, yeah.
Yeah, with ODB. So I this year wanted to draft like Baker Mayfield or some like people on the Browns because everyone's obviously hyped for the season for the Browns, with myself included. And I just couldn't do it. I was like, no, they're the Browns. Like,
They're the
so
Browns, but they're gonna be so fun to watch.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe I should have picked someone up from the Browns just for, um, you know,
Just so you have, like you're
entertainment.
like invested in their team. Like it's Browns versus like Cardinals on Thursday night. You're like, hey, I'll watch it. And like, all right, now I definitely have to watch it because I have Jarvis Landry, like Nick Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, which I also that's another reason why I like fantasy football is because it gets other like previous years when not doing fantasy, I would just watch the Packers game and call it a day.
Yeah,
But now I'm so invested in everybody else's games that like Sunday is all day football, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock,
it's
so
like
it's
red
Sunday
zone.
night.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Which reminder, thank you. Have to look into that. Anyway, but I just, yeah, I think it would have been fun had I picked someone up from the Browns because that would have given me even more of a reason to watch them. But
That's just as you go. Like you said, this is only your third year, so
yeah, so I mean, next year, I feel as though the first year I did terrible. Last year I did well. This year, according to projections, not gonna do well.
I'll give you
Unless
some insight into
Melvin
the
comes
projections.
back.
So the projections, like I spent probably 3 hours trying to find a website where I could just input like an entire league and just like tell me how the numbers are gonna do. Does not exist. Like anything for free does not exist. So I finally found this website and it rates your team, which is where I get all those numbers from. That
Okay.
pretty much like as long as your team has like you draft 17 players and you actually drafted 17 players, like hey, here's a score of 80. Like it's very tough to like get below 80. They give everyone like oh you drafted people that are alive. You'll make the players.
Yeah.
But I use it more so it's like something extra. It's like hey, because the only thing that I like that Yahoo does that ESPN doesn't is they actually do a draft report card and like it breaks down everything almost like if I was to write it. But Yahoo, I have
Yes.
a huge problem with Yahoo. I don't know if we're getting into that on this one. It's a whole. My problem with Yahoo is an entire separate podcast because those scumbags don't know what they're talking about.
Next week on
Next
Packard
week, Packard gets a
approved.
cease and desist letter from Yahoo Fantasy Football.
Uh, I use Yahoo for my brother's league, and I mean I think each ESPN and Yahoo has different pros and cons and everything, but I do like the report card after every week, grading and like highlighting. Which, I mean, you do that every week for us.
Yeah, I do it for ESPN. Like I pick up the Slack, and then Yahoo also has a group text message, and that's pretty much
Yeah.
what I did with Discord. Like, all right, I'm just gonna take everything that I like, and I'm gonna make it my own, and then here we go.
Also, shout out to ESPN if you're listening to this podcast because you totally are.
And
Packard's available for hire.
I talked to Mike Clay a little bit. He came in bowling. We
Oh,
talked
right,
about-
because you have the ESPN league had
it.
at Apple.
he
Yeah.
come in, and so I met Mike Clay, talked to him a little bit, and then Daniel Dupe, who, if you don't know who that is, he's the guy with the huge beard on Matthew Berry's fantasy TV show, the actual show itself.
Yes, yes.
And he's a Lions fan.
Oh,
But he's
that's
super nice.
unfortunate.
They're both, yeah, no, he's still a super cool guy. I think he's from.
No,
Detroit.
yeah.
I think that's what it is. But,
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah.
yes, I met them both. So I mean, on the off chance that either one of them are listening, those dudes are super cool. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. But
But yeah, that's the only difference between Yahoo and ESPN.
I don't even know.
That's alright.
Sorry.
That's fine. So round two. Here's where I love the NXT because, I mean, and this is what you're gonna get with new people playing. Like round one was you're pretty much cut and dry. No one really reached. Round two, here's where things started to get interesting. So the fourth pick out of 12, Nelson reached to get Patrick Mahomes. Can't get mad at that. That's fair. You want to get a quarterback, all right. But then
Yeah.
that just started the trend of just what is going on here. And I can imagine how you're sitting there, you're waiting for your pick coming up kind of soon, and we got Patrick Mahomes goes. Then there's running backs. We have Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook. Quarterback number 2 goes to Deshaun Watson, and the second round of a standard scoring one quarterback league. Second
Yeah.
quarterback goes. Wide receiver. Then we got Alshon Jeffrey, Leonard Fournette, Julian Edelman, whatever. And then Kyle takes Aaron Rodgers. Sure.
Which
Okay.
I was so pissed about
figured
because I
you were
wanted
probably pissed about
Rodgers.
that, yeah, people always get. I'm sure you heard because Shadow was like, "Oh, you always want Aaron Rodgers." Like, I want Aaron Rodgers when I can pay $10 for the $10 ticket on him. I'm not paying $20 for a $10 Aaron Rodgers. Like,
I actually, my brother's league does an auction
oh,
bid.
nice. I was
I got him. I got him for $18.
Yeah.
I was like, why is everyone sleeping on this? And it was like the only money I had left to bid on him. And I was like, if anyone goes $1 more, I lose him. And no one did. I was like, oh, thanks. Like, great.
I think because everyone's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers had a down year last year. Like, he finished 6th overall in quarterback points with one leg. Like, the entire season, our dude played on one leg, finished 6th, and was in, like, the most predictable, like, playbook and offense you could ever find. So...
Yeah, and I think this year, I mean, not to get off a tangent, I hope I don't want to go in with the expectations. I always do, and I get let down.
I think it's gonna be similar to like that year where we were beating the Bears like 45-3 at halftime. Like, that's what I picture. But like you said, like I don't have these expectations, and also it's bad. We're barely beating the 49ers in the fourth quarter by 2 points.
Yeah. So it's been a rough few years, but I have high hopes for the Packers.
But speaking of 49ers, are you ready for the steal of fantasy football in this year's draft?
Yes.
Second round, 12th pick, 24th overall, quarterback of the future, Jimmy G. Garoppolo.
Oh. who picked who?
That was country.
That was okay. Yeah, country.
And that's why I put in the thing. I was like, you could pay money to get that first overall pick, but you can't pay to draft smart.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, Jimmy Garoppolo. Granted, the guy missed the entire season, and the 6 games he played for the 49ers, he looked phenomenal. But his stats in that pregame, he had a 0.0 QB rating. He was like
killing it
for 6 yards. I was like,
oh my God.
You reach for a guy who isn't even going drafted in a 18-person league.
Yeah.
So that's where the NXT gets fun because I'm like, all right, that's where we're gonna go. Then everything got back to normal. So you get to watch all this unfold because you're just ready to take your pick. Then he takes a Mark.
Yeah.
There goes Nick Chubb, like you said, there was a Browns player, and then you had your pick.
Melvin Gordon.
And I'm sure you're like, I'm getting Melvin Gordon in the 3rd round. This is a steal.
Yeah, I was like, oh, great, like, cool, still available, gonna go. And then I'm scrolling through my list, and I see, like, the little red O next to it. And I'm like, what? Like, what? And then I see contract holdout, and I was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, no wonder no one went for him.
Yep.
Yeah, no research at all.
Like he's good, like because everyone's like, oh, you're gonna draft him. Like I try to get him in a lot of leagues, like around like the 6th round. Because all right, if you like my usually like it's gonna seem like I'm full of myself, but like 9 out of 10 times I go into any fantasy football league with the thought process of I will make the playoffs. Like no matter what I do. Usually that's because like I make so many damn waiver wire moves. That my team that I draft is usually trash, and I just make moves and I make the playoffs. So if Melvin Gordon's going to miss the first 6 games, that means he's going to be perfectly fine for the remaining of the year. So if I get in the 6th round a quarterback or a running back that's going to be top 10 in that stretch, I could waste a 6th round draft pick for him. But I have not been lucky. So you took him 3rd, and you're like, well, this is going 3.
Yeah, so he's got a week to figure it out. I mean, if he doesn't get traded, because I know they were talking about.
Yeah, he's like, I want paid or trade me, and then
yeah,
like we get loaned some cap space, and he's from Wisconsin. Like he played at Wisconsin. I was like, oh, maybe we get him. What I think I don't think they're gonna trade him, but I think what could be very interesting that not even ESPN is talking about is Houston, because they have Javon Clowney who also wants to be traded, and there's talks between him getting traded to the Dolphins, and they're saying how the Texans kind of want a wide receiver. I was like, what if the Texans and Chargers just traded Melvin Gordon since they now need a running back for Javon Clowney?
Yeah, I mean, just call him up and tell him to do this because I need him to play.
GM, but I have a great move for both your teams.
Yeah, let me tell you what you need to
We
do.
are currently recording this. I'm putting this out there just for the sake of sake. We're recording this at 8/29/2019 at 7:26. This isn't going to be uploaded until tomorrow morning. So if this happens between now and then, I said it first.
Yes, and I will fully back you on that. Putting it out into the universe.
So I mean, that's not bad though, because you got Ty Gurley, and then you took Julian Edmond and Melvin Gordon. So it's pretty solid. Like you said, you went 2 running backs and a wide receiver. Pretty solid.
Mm.
I digged it. And then NXT, that's usually what happens. Like once like the first quarterback or tight end goes, the rest follow. Because then we saw
Yes.
Carson Wentz, which to be fair was Chantel, Eagles fan. But thankfully, like this year she didn't go super homer, where she's taking like the third string Dallas Goldberg in like the 4th round. Like Carson Wentz, 3rd round, sure. Then we had Cam Newton, and then Matt Ryan. And here comes me and Bill. Oh my God, there's Travis Kelsey dropping like a round later than where he should be going. I could scoop up Travis Kelsey. Snagged. God damn.
Oh, first
Bill,
of many.
yeah, and he had both Chiefs players. He had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey. I was like, God, here it goes. But I wasn't too mad because the next 2 picks that I got were, they're not sleepers because they're super early, but I'd say they were people that were definitely like high on my radar. And that was Josh Jacobs and Chris Carson.
Chris Carson, yeah, was round 4. I round 4 joined the QB
You did.
pick, and I think I saw everyone else choosing quarterbacks, so I was like, oh shit, like I need to get a
That's
quarterback.
usually what happens. All of a sudden, you go to look, you see how the quarterback's going, like, oh, I need to draft a quarterback, and you look to see what's available, like, oh, I missed the boat.
Yeah, so
I mean, Dak's not bad. Like, he was. I think the other year he did great in fantasy, and a lot of that goes towards his rushing, because usually like he'll scramble, get the rushing
he'll just
touchdowns, and they did throw a lot better once they got Amari Cooper in there. Um, and everyone's like, oh, I think it's something Golub. I forget his first name. So they have a decent passing game. They're more run heavy first, but I think the first few weeks might be a little shaky just because the Cowboys are the Cowboys until he
yeah.
gets in there. Like, well, screw. We're screwed. That was that. Round 4 wasn't too crazy. No one really reached. Round 5, the Jimmy Garoppolo owner went and tried to one-up his own move, and in the 5th round,
Tight end.
I tied him from the New England Patriots. Did not know he was still alive and/or playing. Was big
Yeah,
Benjamin
no.
Watson. The 5th round. Last year he had a total of 47 fantasy points. He's projected 40 points. He's
Oh,
rostered
God.
in 2.5% of leagues. Was taken in the 5th round.
That's impressive.
Granted, they don't have Gronk, right? So I understand someone needs to take that spot, but not
Yeah.
in the 5th round.
No, that could have. I don't even know where I drafted a tight.
And then what's funny is I'm looking, and we were just talking probably like 10 minutes ago about how you want Baker Mayfield and Cleveland Browns, but you couldn't do it. So like if you didn't take Dak Prescott, the pick right after you, where you took Tyler Lockett, was Baker Mayfield.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then
I couldn't do it.
no, it's just one of those things you're like, all right, I want to draft him, but I just can't pull the trigger. Like not at that round. Like that's usually what happens to me. I'm like, oh, I want like someone. Like say I want Josh Jacobs in the Worm League, but that was round 1. I was like, I can't give him a round 1 pick.
Yeah, no.
And then the heartbreak pick a few picks after you in quarterbacks was Kirsty took Andrew Luck.
Oh,
But
yeah.
to be fair, this was right before he did that, but this was also her only quarterback. And that second thing she goes, I was like, you only took one quarterback, and he was already like kind of like they didn't know what was going on with Andrew Luck because they could be injured or anything. And she's like, yeah, my team rides on that. And then
And
I saw it pop up my phone and a screenshot. I was like, well, good luck with that. And then it was like 1 in the morning. She picks up Jameis Winston. I couldn't tell if that was a panic move, if it was a drunk move, or you're like, well,
gotta do something about it. Oh,
and then I took. Actually, so the XT, like, pretty much for me was a lot of sleepers and people that kind of wanted to get. So I got Chris Godwin from Tampa Bay Bucks. And then I got Austin Eckler. So Eckler
yeah.
in the 6th round, like that could be great, like if Gordon sits out. But if Gordon doesn't sit out, then I might just keep Eckler just on the off chance that Gordon gets injured, which he has tended to do from time to time. Plus,
Yeah, when I found out that you had Eckler, I was like, God damn it.
so I did that. But I
Um,
like Chris Godwin. Bruce Arians is down in Tampa Bay, and reports was Godwin's going to be on the field a lot. Mike Evans is a genetic freak. That dude's crazy tall. And everyone's like, "Oh, the Bucks are gonna be terrible." I'm like, all right, well, if they're terrible, that means they have to throw a lot. So they have to throw to someone. Adam Humphries
and
like blew it up last year, and he was over in Tennessee, so someone's gotta get the ball. So Chris Godwin was it.
yeah, I think my round 6, the David Montgomery, was the pick that I was trying to do research on someone
I like that pick too.
and didn't realize that it was my pick. So by the time I got back to
timed
the
out.
draft screen, I had like 5 seconds left or something, and I was like, I don't know, and it just auto drafted for me,
Yep.
and I was like, well, I guess I'm going with
Guess
this.
we're going with this. It's funny you say round 6, because before that happened, we saw our first defense get picked in round 6. And
The
I don't know why.
Bears.
I don't know why this happened. Granted, they're the best team for fantasy football last year, but they had so
Yeah.
many turnovers that it's almost impossible to like duplicate that. So much to the fact that last year they had 188 fantasy points. They're projected 117. That's an
Wow.
81 point or 71 point difference.
Different. Wow.
And then that was overshot because 2 picks later was Greg the Leg Zerline, a kicker, and the 6th round.
I swear to God, next year I'm just gonna go kicker, defense, QB, tight end, and just get all of those out, and then just no. I'm kidding. You would kick me out of the
I
league.
would not kick you out of the league, but I might have a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't set my lineup every week if I did
You know
that.
what?
So
You know what, Courtney? You're removed. We're gonna find someone to take over your team, and they're just stuck. That's like the new challenge. Actually, that would be my challenge. My challenge would be take your team and make it a playoff team, and then someone have to run my team.
oh my God,
That would
yes.
actually be the thing. No, don't do that. It's a cool idea, but I want to see you in the league. So we'll find a different league.
I also thought about drinking before drafting and just like winging it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that next year.
To be fair, that's a cool idea, but I think that's what Country did. Because
Oh, did he?
we are not done picking a country at all.
Oh, okay.
Because you took David Montgomery, who I'm a big fan of. He's like you can't say sleeper. I feel like anything before round 10 that's projected isn't a sleeper. But I really like David Montgomery, rookie out of is playing for the Bears. Country, who in round 5 took Ben Watson, decided that he desperately needed a backup tight end. Vance McDonald.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
He just needs. Yeah.
Everything else was business as usual. Dan got auto drafted Lamar Miller.
Yeah.
Bill lucked out with
For
Trevor Coleman.
auto draft for Dan, he like got some good picks.
Usually auto draft does really well, but what auto draft used to have used to have a habit of doing, because I would see it on a lot of like mock. Like I did this one year I did probably 30 drafts, like actual draft, not even just mock drafts, like real actual drafts where I ran 30 teams, and a lot of people would get auto draft and it would take best available. So a lot of teams end up with 4 quarterbacks.
I mean, what if all the 3 first ones get hurt?
I mean,
You can't be too safe.
if you're in a 10-team league and your first 3 quarterbacks get injured, maybe you should just find a new hobby. Or find out
I mean,
who put a voodoo jinx on you.
we're Packers fans.
True.
Rodgers got hurt, and then what's his name got hurt? Well, who was the backup that year?
Oh yeah, I remember, because it was that Matt Flynn. No, because then we brought in like I had to go see a Giants game with
Yes.
Seneca Wallace was a quarterback. I was like, oh dear God.
And then he got hurt, so then Matt Flynn came in, and I was like, why didn't we start him? Whatever. But I mean, I I have a tough time with cute quarterbacks getting hurt, obviously, because
So that was round 7. I finally took my first tight end. And I took Miles Sanders rather. So this one, like, I had 3 like running backs like later in the draft. Where I was like, I really like these people, and I actually got all 3 of them. So that's a little early, but like Josh Jacobs, actually Chris Carson, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, like those are all big my running backs that I was big on. That you get later on, and I got all 3 of them. So that was kind of
that's the best feeling. Getting like if you go in being like, all right, I want these people, and getting them.
it is, especially because right after I did that, round 8 and 9 was just a shit show because that featured our second defense, third defense, fourth defense, and even fifth defense, which the fifth one off the board was the Saints. I don't know why, but I could only let you take a guess at who drafted the Saints defense.
I'm gonna go ahead and say country.
Yep. Yep. That was him. And then he followed up with taking a kicker, Steven Gostkowski, which then led to another kicker in Justin Tucker. And then you were finally up where you took Marvin Jones Jr., who you should probably start every time he plays the Packers because that dude just kills us.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's currently on the bench for me.
That's
so
fair. Like I was like, oh, he's playing the Packers. Put him in there. Here's 30 points. Like, he had 75 points last year. I think 40 that was against us. And then it was pretty much business as usual. Nothing too crazy. I took Geronimo Allison and Lamar Miller.
yeah.
I didn't have to do because like I love MVS, but both him and Allison are like right next to each other. I'm like, I don't know which one to take.
Yeah, that's tough. I will owe it. I love Geronimo Allison, so
See, I love the other guy, and he sounds like he's like the villain from Die Hard. Marcus Ventley Scatling.
yeah, yeah,
So I just thought it was fun. But then I took Lamar Jackson, and I'm gonna get a little bit on this, but everyone's like, Lamar Jackson's terrible. Why would you ever want him? So and he's like, all you could do is run. First of all, if it's fantasy football, I want a mobile quarterback. I want someone who could run because it's more
Yeah.
points, right? And
Yep.
I always remember because it was one of my best teams I ever had was I had RG3 in his rookie year, who played 15 games, and I wrote this down just for this moment. He had 317.5 fantasy points, which is good enough for
Oh my god.
fifth for that year. So if you're telling me I could take Lamar Jackson in the 10th round and he's going to end up being a top 5 quarterback, sure,
Yeah, gonna do it.
I'm going to do it. So I took Lamar Jackson. Usually I had a habit, like I said, taking running backs, and then I'd always wait till like round 10 to get my quarterback, and it'd always be Tony Romo or Phillip Rivers, and people are like, oh, they're terrible, they don't win anytime. I was like, no, you know what their teams do? They're down 35-3 at halftime, and then they got to throw a lot. So I don't need Tony Romo to win games. I just need to put up points.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you don't need anybody to win. You just need people to put up points. So.
Because people are like, oh, Lamar Jackson's only going to throw for 3,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. Correct. He's also going to run for 900 yards and rush for 10 touchdowns. So.
That's why I like having Rodgers as quarterback, because he just always, anytime doesn't find someone, he just takes it himself, and I'm like, great.
He had that was like the 43-point game against the Jets last year that brought me to it was a worse moment in my fantasy football because I was like neck and neck, and I had Aaron Rodgers and Devonta Adams, and it was that Jets game. Were we in overtime or was it like right before like the quarter ended? I forgot exactly where it was.
Oh,
but he
yeah.
threw the touchdown to Devonta Adams. I'm like, cool, because I just got like 11 points, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh, flag in the play, doesn't count. I was like, no, that's my season right there. And then the very next play, Aaron Rodgers rushes in for a 20-yard touchdown. I was like, nope, that's fine. Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Before there's another flag, just like move on,
I'm
please.
like, all right, that's it. All right, I can't take that heartbreak anymore. So that's my little tangent on that. So we went there. You took your backup quarterback. Business as usual. Then you finally took your first tight end, which, granted, he's like almost 38 years old. Like Greg Olsen.
I feel as though
way too late.
all tight ends are like dinosaurs. Like they're all like
It's like
super old and everything.
Tom
So is there
Brady,
really?
45, Philip Rivers 38, and then Antonio Gates probably also 38, and then every other tight end like 36. I think Olsen and Delaney Walker, who I don't even know was drafted, are just both like in their late 30s. But they're like kickers. They're like the offensive version of kickers. They're insane.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I could. Did anybody pick up Jimmy Graham?
I did in some. Country did. Country, who had already taken
Oh, okay.
who already took two
Right.
tight ends, wasted a fifth and a seventh round pick, felt the need in round 12 to take a third tight end.
Watch him like come on top, like come out on top for this league. You're gonna be like, fuck.
Does not happen. I believe he got the worst ranking with the lowest projected chance to make the playoffs. Where's Country? I'm interested to see what his starting lineup looks like, because the rest of the draft was kind of status quo, I guess you want to say. Where did I find?
Yeah, I think everyone. I mean, last round definitely everyone started going for kickers.
That's what I do. Where's Country? So it's cool though, because like the NXT is like built for rookies, but you get some amazingly terrible stories like Country. Yeah.
And I will say I think this year's draft went a lot
It
quicker.
went really quick.
I mean, I personally, when I am in a draft, I pick who I want to choose, and then during the person in front of me's turn, and if they end up taking it, I always have a backup.
Yeah, you're ready to
So
go.
it comes to me, and I'm like, all right, click, draft, done.
Yeah.
But then you have the auto draft people who, I think it's that if you don't put it on auto draft, it just like makes you wait the 90 seconds, and
Wait
then
the
it
90
chooses
seconds.
for you.
Yeah, and then
So-
once that happens, then it puts you in auto draft until you show up again. So it's not like you have to wait 90 seconds every time, just that first time.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, I think our draft like was pretty quick.
It was. I think it was the quickest draft I had. Everything else was
Yeah.
like 2 hours. This one was like an hour, hour and a half. So everyone. But so Country.
Yeah, my auction bid was
Yeah,
2
auction, I
hours.
feel it takes so long because everyone's involved in each pick. So
And everyone just always bids by $1, so it just
Yep.
stays there. Like, and I'm like, all right.
all right. So looking at, I don't know if you have your team pulled up, but looking at your team, are you happy with your team? Are the people you weren't that you wanted to get that you ended up with? People you never thought you'd end up drafting, you end up taking.
So I'm relatively happy with it. Like, I like Todd Gurley. I'm excited. I as much as I don't hate the Patriots, I just am meh about them. I like Julian Edelman, and again, like I like picking people up that I like and know.
Yeah.
So Edelman was great. I was happy about that. Dak Prescott, I was like, all right, Cowboys, but whatever.
I mean, projected 20 points week 1, so.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't complain about that. Yeah, not happy about all the people I picked up that I don't like their teams, so I'll have to be like hoping they lose, but still like scoring points
I'll
for
check your
most of
stats,
these
but
people.
I'm not rooting for your team to go anywhere.
Yeah. And the one Green Bay player I got rid of right away, so I was like, all right. So it would have been nice to have a Green Bay player just.
Jamal Williams is still out there, and there's probably still. I don't know if anyone.
Yeah,
Yes, so he might still be out there, and the new kicker, whoever we get.
Yeah.
And the Packard defense.
I don't really. It's so weird because I don't know if you have the stats on how many like trades and waivers and everything that I have done in the past. I don't know if there's any way to see that. But I feel as though I don't really do waivers, and like I don't pick people up throughout the season like you do. I very much like pick in the beginning backups for everyone. So I'm like, oh, this person's out this week, I'll just put this one in instead of trying to pick someone else up. The only other time I really try to pick new people up during the season if someone gets hurt or and is going to be out for the season or whatnot. So I don't even know if I would be making any changes at this point. Maybe I'll wait a few weeks and
That's pretty
then.
much how it is. It's like week one. Like week one, everyone's gonna be projected the same amount of points. There's nothing anything crazy. It's the most vanilla week there is, and then all of a sudden, shit hits the fan, and then someone has a great game. Someone go for like 7 catches, 103 yards, and try to scoop them off waivers. That's just how it is. But week one, it's just who knows what you're gonna see. I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah. In my brother's league, I already picked up 3 new people because I went into auto draft because it was just taking too long. So I got my first 5 with the $200 limit. And then I was like, I'm just going to auto draft for the rest.
Fix what you want.
Yeah. So there were like 3. I was like, so I went in and like picked up. So I didn't even wait till the first week. I was like, all right, I need to make some changes. But for this team, I'm just gonna wait it out and see how everyone does, and hopefully Melvin.
It's like unless like there's some huge crazy news, like for whatever reason Tony Pollard is like on the waivers, or if Austin Eckler was still on the waivers, or if the Texans decide that it's not gonna be Duke Johnson, there's not really anyone to pick up. But to go back, so that first 2000 was that 2017? Did I pull the right year? Probably not. No, that was the wrong one. That's current year, but 2018 you had 13 waiver wire moves,
Okay.
and then actually the year before this says 0, but this says 0 for me too, and I don't believe that.
Yeah. Looking at your track record, there's no way that
fair,
it's
I only
0.
had 35 last year on NXT, and most of that was
Only.
waivers. Yeah, well, the Palace, no, the War Room. I had like 70 something waivers.
Um,
But
it's like every day you're just going through.
always moving. But that's that. It's just overall you're pretty content with your team. I think it's a pretty solid team. You got good depth. You got backups at every position too, so you don't really have to worry about waivers. I think Gordon being suspended hurts now. But I mean,
Hopefully it will pay off.
it should. Like I imagine, like worst case scenario, he's back by like week 6, and that's gonna give you Todd Gurley, David Montgomery, and as long as Montgomery's solid, you have him and Melvin Gordon. So right there, you're running all 3. That's a pretty solid running back tandem.
Yeah.
I don't know when their buys are, but
Next year, I'm actually just gonna draft based on how funny and punnable people's names are and team names, and just change them every week.
that's fair. That's what Ashley and Deb did. Like the first year they were doing it, they just drafted people based off their name and their profile picture.
That's the one I'm gonna go. I actually didn't realize I'm playing you week 1.
Of course you are. So
Yeah,
I'm
so-
number 1.
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't. Again, don't have high hopes for.
Predicted 92 to 86 in favor of me. Let's see. We'll just break it down while we're here. Dak Prescott is better than Lamar Miller, or Lamar Miller. Yeah, he is. Lamar Miller's dead. You got Dak Prescott. I got Lamar Jackson, +2 to you. I got Josh Jacobs, and you have Todd Gurley, which are both projected the same points. Chris Carson versus David Montgomery. I think I take the edge in wide receivers because I got Julio and Odell, and then you have Julian and Tyler Lockett. But if there's anything I've learned is whenever I play Tyler Lockett and he's projected 8 points, he's gonna get 24.
Yeah, that's the other thing with projected points. I either am like super happy because they're like, oh, projected 8, but they get 30, or it's complete opposite, like projected 20 points, but it's gonna get me 13 or yeah, and I'm like,
our tight ends are close. I got O.J. Howard, Greg Olson, Chris Godwin. You have DJ Moore. I really like DJ Moore too because everyone's like, oh, he's gonna be terrible. I was like, well, Cam Newton can only throw like 5 yards. So his shield's better, but his ankle's all busted, so who knows. But if Cam Newton's healthy, I think DJ Moore's going to be one of the steals this year. Defenses, I got Browns versus Tennessee. You got Eagles versus Washington, so we both have good matchups. And kickers are irrelevant, but we both are projected 8 points.
yeah.
But that's
I actually, this is the first time I'm seeing your projected totals because for some reason the app still says 0 on everything.
Mm.
Um, and I was like, I just want to know how far behind I am projected, but
That's week 1. Like everyone,
yeah.
if you look, I think everyone's gonna be projected between 86 to like 95. Yeah,
Yeah, it
81 to
always
the
starts
90s.
off.
Yeah, it's pretty because it's week 1. They're like, we don't know. Who knows? But that's NXT. But if there's anything that it doesn't do, it's not boring.
Oh no, like from the get-go, it's fun and exciting. I mean, your drafting at Dave and Buster's is the best idea. I tell everyone, like, this is genius. It's just, I mean, you meet everyone from the other leagues as
Yeah, 'cause
well.
it's how you get it.
Yeah, and so it's just a fun way to figure out the draft order and like who doesn't like going to play
Yeah, it's a fun
arcade
night out
games
and
and
you figure out the draft
drinking.
order. And then also one last thing, like Mark who joined, he is Chantel's uncle. He joined
Yeah.
specifically because of the obituaries.
Oh my gosh.
Because like she shared that, and he's like, I want in this league for an obituary. He's like, I'll do bad on purpose. Like, don't worry, like everyone gets an obituary. You finish second overall, like, you make it all the way to championship, you get an obituary. Like the only way you don't get obituary is if you win the whole thing. So we have people joining the
Yeah,
league specifically for that,
just to lose.
just to get an obituary about their fantasy team name.
That's how you know you're doing it right and doing it well, cause so props to you.
I appreciate it. So I think that's really about it. We've talked about
Yeah.
how you got into this. We broke down NXT, which is pretty cool because like that's the one league we're in, so we don't get it scattered between 3 different leagues. I think that's it that I was gonna cover. Is there anything else you want to cover?
I don't really have anything.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, this was fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Again, thank you.
No problem.
Again, I'm not really like I love football and everything, but I'm not super into stats and everything. So your league is definitely a good way to just have fun. And
That was the mentality of it. I'm glad I'm keeping true to the thought process.
yeah. Ah,
Well, with that, we will call it a day. I thank you for joining. I thank Tipsy Courtney for saying she wanted to do it, and then Sober Courtney for agreeing to stick to the game plan.
yeah, maybe like down the line in the middle of the season we can do this again and like update or
Yeah, we
something.
could do
But
like a recap. Like we could do like maybe like every 4 weeks or like 6 week, and then like down playoff time or whatever. Most.
yeah, I mean, you told me I was gonna probably make the playoffs this year, and I don't believe it. So
You never know. All right, stats say one thing, and then see what happens. But
yeah,
I think we're doing six teams out of 12 make the playoffs too. To be fair, so half the people make the playoffs because we changed the structure around too.
oh right. So hopefully I'm in the top 6. I'd be sad if I wasn't, but
Just be top
But-
50% and you make the playoffs.
I just need that's average. That's like a C plus, right?
All right. Well, let's just assume country's already out of it.
So I'm
So you have to
one
beat
step closer.
the one name out. So you just gotta beat 5 other people now.
Hopefully one of them is yours, but
Hey. Last time I invited you
let the
back to
shit
this.
talking commence.
And that's how it's done. It's like I'll end in this. And if anyone has ever seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I don't know if you've ever seen that show. All right.
Oh, I love It's Always Sunny.
We're gonna end it on this. So if you've never seen it, you need to look it up and look up the clip. It's the beginning of Charlie McDennis, where they're playing that board game, and like right before they're all about sportsmanship, and they go to drink. They go, gentlemen, suck my dick, and then they drink it, and then they go off like that's that's face football. It's like, all right, everyone, good luck, and go jump off a cliff.
Yes.
So with that, I thank everyone for coming by. I thank you the most for being part of this and
Definitely. Thank you.
being able to talk to me for a whole hour because not a lot of people could do that. So that's pretty cool on your part. And I'll see you guys later. See you later.
Bye.
See ya.